It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. You're still keeping it locked right on your Feel Good Breakfast Show on SABC3. Now, as South Africa approaches 300 days into our national lockdown, believe it or not, we have spent more time at home than ever before. And as 2021 has ushered in stricter and prolonged restrictions, the accumulated time at home is bound to make us feel a bit stir-crazy and prone to feeling a bit annoyed by inconsiderate neighbours. Now, our friend and expert in law, Director at Legalese.co.za, Eitan Stern, is back with us for our regular feature where we focus on the unconventional side of the law. It's called So Now What? And today he's giving us guidance on the measures that can be taken when our neighbours are being a nuisance. Good morning, happy birthday, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I just want to say everything because it's been a while since we connected with you.
It has been a while. It's nice to be out the house.
Yeah, it's so good having you out the house in our studio, of course. So thank you for joining us. But Eitan, I got to ask, when it comes to just even the rules in general, when it comes to noise, disturbances, what's actually even expected when it comes to your neighbours and you just being considerate in general? I mean, what are the rules?
For sure. So it's important to know there are two types of noise. There's noise disturbance and noise nuisance. Noise nuisance is the sort of thing that we're probably talking about, barking dogs, electric fences, someone playing their music too loud. That's going to be noise nuisance, which can kind of happen sporadically. And then you have noise disturbance, where there's kind of objective criteria around, and that'll be around like what nightclubs are allowed to do. And if you remember nightclubs, they were this thing that we used to have.
Back in the day.
Back in the day. So from factories or nightclubs, so noise restrictions. And different areas are going to have different rules around what disturbance you're allowed to have. So if you're living in inner city, Cape Town or Joburg, you can expect the rules for noise disturbance to be a little bit more lenient because you can expect, because that's where the nightclubs and factories will be. Whereas if you're living in the middle of suburbia in Constantia or something, then you're going to be able to expect a little bit more peace and quiet. So if you want to know what noise is allowed in terms of disturbance, you're going to have to check the bylaws of your specific area. It's going to differ area to area. But noise nuisance, when barking dogs, electric fences, that sort of stuff, it's also going to differ area to area, but generally you are not allowed to do anything which disturbs your neighbour in an unreasonable manner. And so it's going to be judged case to case.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to these laws and these rules, is this now affected by the adjusted lockdown level 3 restrictions in any way?
Okay, it's a great question, and also something everyone's, it's very pertinent to everyone. So there wasn't anything in the lockdown regulations around disturbance. I mean, there's the laws that are there around kind of priority things like trying to stop the spread of the virus. So they didn't introduce any laws around disturbance and nuisance. That being said, as we are all home a lot more, everyone is going to have to be more conscious of their neighbours, and body corporates might put in place rules around when people are allowed to build or not allowed to build and make noise. So it's going to be up to clusters of houses like body corporates or housing schemes to make the rules. But as far as the government regulations are concerned, there was nothing new added for lockdown.
So it's more a matter of just kind of being considerate generally.
Totally.
And actually just taking someone else into account.
That is I couldn't put it better in any way, and that's something which I think a lot of us forget in these instances.
Yeah.
Be considerate of neighbours, and if someone's making a noise, just go and say, do you mind keeping it down?
So, which draws me to my next question. So when is that time when you should feel like, okay, look, there's definitely a disturbance. These guys are having a social gathering or a party or something of the sort. What do I do? Do I go knock on the door? Do I report it to the authorities? What's the best step?
So the first thing is, I employ a bit of patience. If something's a disturbance, it'll have to be over a prolonged period of time. Dogs bark. I have a dog. He barks. If a dog is incessantly barking for hours and hours and hours, that is a nuisance. If a dog barks once or twice, that's not a nuisance. That's called life. Then, so if the noise has to be prolonged for a period of time, it'll also have to be in a part of the day that causes a nuisance. So if it's after, say, 10 p.m. at night in a suburban area, or if it's during the day well, now that people are working, I suppose if it's a prolonged period during the day. What do? Well, on government website, there's actually a portal there with numbers that you can call and information around this. The government's actually done a great job, or the Cape Town government has done a great job in putting out a portal with information, and where you should be able to get numbers over there. And then if a disturbance does continue to occur and you can't find anything helpful there, you can call the police, the SAPs, who it's their job to kind of come out and regulate the piece.
Okay.
Well, we're definitely going to continue this conversation because sometimes it is out of your control. Like you said, you do have a dog. Maybe that is a topic we can discuss in our next part. So we're going to be figuring out now what with our friend at legalese.co.za, Eitan Stern, in just a moment.